telephone call from God to somebody else. There's no weakness from God through, because this is a neutral instrument. It's his voice.
Excellent.
Either God wanted it to be corrupted, or it's not corrupted.
But we haven't
nothing in between.
but we haven't established that yet. What we are trying to establish is whether it is possible for the message, or call it the communication, to be corrupted in the process. We haven't established that yet.
Right.
But the issue is this: when it is being communicated, can it carry weakness?
No.
No, it can't. It's impossible. But then the question then arises, coming to what we said, is that when it comes in its finality, can it be corrupted? The answer is no. Now, if that be the case, if we can just follow it to its conclusion and then you can come in. If that be the case, then logic is also dictating to me that this very creator, free from weaknesses, free from corruption, will also provide for us as human beings, logical, rational and reasonable human beings, to establish how to verify whether it has been corrupted or not.
Yeah.
Are we okay with that? Now, here is an issue. We have agreed so far, excuse me. I now want to know whether the apostles, the apostolic fathers, as opposed to the Bible, which one has this chain of transmission to the point where it cannot be corrupted?
Okay.
This one,
right.
This one, or both?
Okay. Now, what I would say first of all is that the message itself was not delivered in the same way as the Quran and Muhammad and Allah. There's
Sorry, Collin. If you listen, if you heard me, I do apologize. I shouldn't use the word listen. If you heard me, I said we have agreed independently a creator by definition cannot carry any weaknesses. Do we agree?
Yeah, we're there.
Communication has taken place.
Right.
In the process of the communication, we have agreed no weaknesses can enter.
Okay, yes.
If we carry to its logical conclusion, what we constitute to be the information, call it signal, whatever, that has arrived in its totality, can it now be corrupted? I would suggest the answer. Can
I suggest something?
Sure. Thank you.
Because I'd often thought, if I was, just bear with me on this, this is a way of, I'm going to try and explain to you how I'm trying to understand it. If I was a Muslim, and I followed what you just said, I would be a Quranist. Because I would say I would only need the verbatim word of God, because outside of that there is corruption. Can I just finish this? Yeah. So let's say the message was transmitted through Gabriel to Muhammad. He was told that this, or from a variety of sources, this was the verbatim message of God, and he transmitted it to his followers. Now, if that message was uncorrupted, we would need nothing but the uncorrupted message. However, we also know that God, dealing with imperfect human beings, needs to put another layer around that. And that would be the rightly guided followers or the apostles. So this is what I'm saying. The very fact that the message was delivered uncorrupted on its own, in any religious system you see, is not enough guidance to bring all people to truth. Because I've heard discussions, I'll zoom around. I've heard discussions from Christians who would say, this is all you need, and they'll come up with a variety of different, totally unhistorical kind of interpretations of things. And I've also heard even here Quranists saying an argument, quite vehement arguments, saying no, the hadiths are just extra, we don't need them. So we end up in that same acceptance that you need to have rightly guided people who would be the earliest, would be the truest. And as a mechanism, I think we've arrived in different poles, but at exactly the same conclusion. We need the pure message, but we also need rightly guided people to interpret the message. But you
see, Collin, sorry, can I just, again, for some odd reason, you seem to have missed the vital element that I had just addressed.
You've said it,
I think I will just clarify. You see, when you talked about rightly guided people to interpret it correctly,
to interpret the pure message of God,
it is based on the assumption that we already are aware that in totality there is a pure message that cannot be corrupted. Do you agree?
Not as regards the message of Jesus Christ.
No, I didn't ask you that. Again, Follow the train of thought here.
Okay.
No,
trying to apply it
not
to
a
my
problem
own.
at all.
Yeah.
Are you okay with what I'm saying, George?
So
Yeah?
the message cannot be corrupted by God.
No, no. If we agree, and which we have, that a creator is free from blemishes, free from etc. That creator now is, something is emanating from the, we call it a message. In the process of its emanation, no corruption can enter it.
That is correct.
In its totality, by definition, it cannot have corruption. So far, so good. The issue then arises this. If we agree with these steps, and logically speaking, you cannot disagree with it, then the issue arises this. If me and you, George, now wanted to establish the veracity of a message that claims to be from this creator who is free from imperfection, then necessarily this creator will provide for us, based on what he created with all the rational faculties, on how to establish the veracity of this message that came. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Do you agree? You do. Then it doesn't need righteous individuals, does it?
To correctly interpret the message.
Yes.
It does.
Right. Now you have taken one step further. First, have we established the message?
Yes, we've got the message.
1 second.
We've got the message.
But the second point that I just made with George, and he rightfully agreed, was then this creator free from imperfections
With you, yeah. Sorry.
would provide
Yeah.
humanity that the creator created with all its rational faculties.
Yeah.
The creator would provide in that message a criteria wherewith to determine its veracity.
Now you've answered
Now.
my confusion. The criteria. Now.
Now, the issue is, sorry, George, I'll just last.
Yeah.
So the issue now is that if you have got the church fathers and the apostles' teachings, and you have got something that claims to have emanated from this incorruptible being, the question arises that should that precede this, or should this precede that, or are you suggesting that these very faulty individuals that you claimed yourself are the ones that you are going to rely on to determine the veracity of that?
My word, Shabir, that was a lot to.
I do apologize.
hold on
I'll
to.
simplify it.
No.
Sorry, George.
No, I think we're dealing with something simple, and you're putting it well, but it's sometimes the wording. If I'm
Sorry.
go on.
I'll try and
George,
simplify
maybe
it
George
more.
can unravel that.
The important thing to remember is that the apostles is that you can't divide the apostles from the message, because in many ways the apostles are the message, because they are chosen by God. They are chosen by God to emanate the message. So dividing the Bible from the apostles, it doesn't really make sense, because the apostles made the Bible. The apostles assembled it at Nicaea. Now, of course, people are going.
Sorry. This one? Oh, can I? It won't go into disturbance. It looks like moths, don't it? I do apologize. Give me 1 second. It's like I know what to do with these. You see, I'm going the wrong way.
I know.
Oh, dear.
I'll give it to him.
Hey,
I think if you use
no, I've done it.
There we go.
Are these okay? Can you hear? Salam alaikum, alaikum salam, alhamdulillah. Yeah, apologies, George. Sorry.
So, now, these people are flawed, but God will never allow his messages to be corrupted. We establish this. So, when they are speaking the message of God, it will be clear to us if it is true or if it is corrupted. And when it is corrupted, the true faith, the truth of God is spotted. And that is where we spot where heresy is derived.
Okay.
Because we say, that is not the message of God. Anathema.
Right, understood. But you see, George, what you said sounds quite reasonable. However, if we take it just a bit further and ask ourselves this, God is the one who chose the disciples or the apostles. Did he choose Barnabas?
No.
No. Did he choose James?
No.
Did he?
Well, actually, James, was he a disciple? No, he wasn't.
Did he choose Luke?
No.
He didn't?
No.
Okay. Did he choose John?
Yes.
Did he choose Matthew?
Yes.
Did he choose the disciple that went against God?
No. Did he choose Judas? Yes, he did, to fulfill scripture. He actually did.
Who is the disciple that,
Judas Iscariot.
there you are, was he chosen by God?
Yes.
Did he get corrupted?
Yes.
So the logic that you applied earlier on is failing.
No.
If I can just, I understand what you mean, yeah? The question is,
You can't do anything.
prior
Even boxing, you don't
prior to what you said, and I can understand that, yeah? Prior to what you said, what we are first establishing is whether the message, in this case the Bible, will within itself contain the from the incorruptible, establish for us why it cannot be corrupted. Do you agree with that?
Okay, just repeat that for me.
Sure, not a problem at all, my
Do
friend.
layman's terms, just to
Okay,
simplify it.
that was.
Did you understand?
Yes, I
Were you
understand.
telling?
Yeah, okay.
Basically, what he's saying is we need a
An interpreter.
Yes, I know. There's a criteria.
because I'm looking at it from an angle or angle of the way Muslims look at it. We need a criteria. Like for example, if both of us have a disagreement, what we do is we go back to the Quran to see who is correct or who is incorrect. So let's say a man is allowed to marry. He said the Quran.
And that will have it in there.
And it will
to that
have,
level.
exactly, yes. And if it's not in the Quran, we go back to what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us.
And how do we know that?
Very good question. That's a very, very good question. We know that.
Sorry,
because-
sorry, guys.
Yes.
That's not what the clarification. Do you mind not taking it off on a tangent? First,
He
did
said,
it?
no, he said he knew what you meant. And I thought
Yeah, and then
maybe
why
he
did
could
you ask
tell
him
me.
about
Okay.
something that was irrelevant?
It's the criteria. He's
Eh?
asking,
Yeah, thank
what
you.
is the criteria?
Yeah.
You tell me. Yeah.
So basically,
George
You're
is coming
right to
back.
say-
George
you're
has
right
got
to
it.
say that. This is-
I
this
do
is what-
apologize,
no,
my
you're
friend.
right. This is
Yeah.
what happens in a lot of conversations. They start.
The
with this and
interest
they go,
starts and goes,
"Meow."
yeah,
No,
absolutely.
You say what you're going to say. I'm
No,
listening.
George is cottoned on.
George is ready.
Go ahead, George.
So,
Colin, George.
no matter what criteria we have, the next question logically must be, where does the criteria come from?
Well, we have already established, for logical purposes, that the incorruptible, free from weaknesses, has passed a message.
Yes, but how do we know that?
Now, this is the question. The message itself, like I said, would within itself contain what we just used the word criteria to verify and establish is from that creator who is free from weakness.
You see, that's where I would take issue.
Fine.
Because Scripture itself does not say you can use logic to derive this as true. It says you use faith. In the Greek, it's pistos. It means trust. Now, trust can be violent. We could have. We hope that our pistos, our trust,
Yeah.
is correct.
Yeah.
We do
But-
not know for certain that this is true.
Yeah.
I will never, ever claim that my faith comes from rationality alone.
Okay.
Because I have no.
So-
even Muhammad,
Yeah.
his blessings be upon him.
Yeah.
We don't know if what he actually was God. I am sure most Muslims believe that.
No, the angel, not God.
The angel. Okay.
Yeah.
But we also don't know that it was a hallucination. We don't know if
Absolutely.
the disciples,
Correct.
when they saw Jesus Christ,
Correct.
were hallucinating. I hold that that's unlikely,
But
but
we-
it is possible. I trust
Yeah.
with rational.
Well, actually, I mean, it sounded so reasonable there. I nearly got taken by it. Let's put it this way, George. Are you suggesting to me that this creator who created rational faculties is suggesting to us spend with the rational process just like what I am saying?
So,
Is that what you are saying?
for faith,
No. You first that.
well, in the criteria of faith, in the matter of believing in God,
Okay,
yes,
let's define the word
rationality-
faith. Define the word
Faith
faith.
Faith is dealing with the supernatural. So, and it hurts. Pause. Other things. We no locality in the brain in which consciousness resides. There's a complex reaction. We do not know that soul exists. It follows the similarity in which there has to be an area somewhere in which consciousness is, and therefore we can extract from that, and then we can call that the soul. But we do not know its behavior, and we do not know its income. We do not know how it can make inferences based on scripture, which I find inspired by, to say maybe that is true. I do not know. It is faith.
Sorry, I asked for a definition of the word
So
faith.
a definition of faith. Okay. Faith is belief without evidence.
Super. It's belief. I do apologize, brother. It's belief without evidence, which is it is actually, that's the definition. Let's go with that. Am I to believe that Krishna is God without evidence?
You could do if you wanted to.
No, I could. Can I, and would it be valid according to the definition of faith? It would be. So true.
No, it's not necessarily true.
Wait a
We
minute.
have faith in us.
I agree with you. What I'm saying to you is, let's follow it to its logical conclusion. I do apologize, brother. Yeah? What you said about the definition of faith. Believing without
evidence.
Without evidence. So I believe Krishna to be the incarnation of God. It is valid. Do you agree?
Yes.
Fine. I believe I myself am God right now. Do you agree?
No.
Why?
You can have your faith.
No, sorry. You are going to have to just believe without evidence.
I believe without evidence.
Okay, I'm saying I am God. Do you believe?
No.
Why not? Whatever you now say is going to be based on rationality. So do you agree?
Yeah. So,
You disagree?
No. So you are not God. So I can use rationality to decide. So
Faith, your definition of faith, George, is what I am working on. You said it is to believe without evidence. I am saying I am God. You should believe because you don't need evidence. Do you agree?
I understand what you're trying to say. Let me pick this apart.
No, you can't.
Can I? No,
You can't, because when you pick it apart, you will be applying rationality.
Well, let's see. Well,
Do you agree with that?
Well, let's see if that's true.
Okay.
So, I can say what is God by faith, but I can also say what isn't God by rationality.
Wait a minute. Can you say what is God by faith?
Yes,
You can. Can you say what is not God by faith?
I can, but I can also use rationality.
Wait a minute. So if you can use rationality to dismiss the idea of a creator, why can you not use rationality to establish the creator?
Because I do not know the criteria of a creator.
Excellent. Now, if I were to, I do apologize, brother. If I were to say to you, the scriptures actually clearly confirm that you should apply reason, would you agree?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. When Isaiah 17 says, "Come, let us reason," saith the Lord, what does he mean?
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs.
No problem.
But I can attempt to say
It is a
that,
statement,
that
by
in
the
your
way.
normal day-to-day life, reason is an important fact.
Okay.
A book doesn't actually
Okay.
It is evidence that God exists beyond rationality. So when you approach
Actually,
God,
sorry. I do apologize. Can I correct you? The working on is actually based on your belief. That is why, to your mind, it sounds irrational. It isn't actually. You see, where you have got an independent action that you are considering, in absence of the whole picture, what you said would be correct. But where you have all the evidence that clearly confirms something, so basically 80% everything is verifiable, 20% is verifiable. On a balance of probabilities, it is more likely to be true than false.
Yes.
Do we agree with that logic? Okay, fine. Now, the issue is not, like I said, Isaiah 1:17 says, Thessalonians 5:21 says, prove all things, hold on to that which is good. How do you prove things?
Deductive reasoning, no.
How do you apply that without rationality? You can't. Thank you. Yeah. So you see, if you take, I do apologize. You take it a bit further, and you find this. Wait a minute. This is coming back to the point we were discussing, that if the Creator is free from want, free from weakness, free from corruption, sends a message right through the whole process, the message by definition would not be corrupted. Not only that, the Creator, having created us sane, reasonable, rational human beings, individuals, yes, would provide us the necessary, by definition, the necessary criteria or reasoning, call it what you want, within the message that was sent for us to have the veracity of that message. Quite logical. Now, the issue is this, going back to what you said. You see, if I say, I have taken step 1, 3, 4 and established something, having considered all the available evidence in relation to that matter, and then I accept it. Why I accept it? Because there is nothing that can be rebutted in it. I can move to state effectively, George, you know what? I truly have faith in my wife. I'm doing that right. but absolutely, yeah. But you can see how we can proceed and build to it. But the primary issue or the primary concern for us as human beings should be, what does the evidence lead us to? Now, as you rightly pointed out also, look, there are so many questions that we can ask, yeah? Like, for example, I'm asking, as I was telling him before you came, in fact, I don't know if you're here, Swami Nityananda, have you heard of him?
Yes.
You have heard of him?
Yes.
He's brilliant, isn't he? Have you heard him?
I haven't seen it.
You should listen to him. He's absolutely brilliant. Millions of people believe what he says. Now, if you were to ask them, why do you believe? I am willing to bet my bank account. Okay, it's overdrawn, but doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, I am willing to bet my bank account.
You're going to give me your debt?
I'll give it to you. Yeah? I can guarantee you that none of them, you made it back. Not to worry at all. Yeah? I can confidently assert that none of them would have used evidence and a rational assessment of his claims before confirming what he said. And on that basis and on that footing, what I was asking you, George, is if I claim to be the incarnation of God and I were to use the definition purely of faith, you have no choice but to accept me. So now, get down and do what I say.
Okay.
Don't speak. No, just a joke. Yeah, but as you can see, if you take it to its logic, and then, like I said, if I were to use the sources, as I mentioned to him, Psalm 18 verse 30 tells us, the way of God is perfect and the word of the Lord is flawless. Now, I would use the standard definitions, and the word flawless would mean, well, without fault. Perfect. What is the word perfect when associated with the Creator? What would that mean? I can say, again, I'll use wife, she is perfect. And this guy comes along and says, what did he see in that ugly soil? Because it is subjective. Yeah? Beauty is in the eye.
You should have seen my first wife.
I don't want to go there. Yeah? So you can see, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say anything against our female kind. The most wonderful, so she can hear it if she sees the video, at least she knows I said everything good. But as you can see, I can make a claim, but that claim has to be backed up and verified. Yeah? Just like, I know it sounds a flippant example, but our friend, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name. I call you Arnold Schwarzenegger. Shane. Yeah? Yeah? Shane asked us, do you know where the toilets are? And we didn't think, wait a minute, what is the definition of a toilet? What is this? We didn't, did we? We just said, that way. Can you see the long tree?
To the tree.
I don't know why. But Collin,
broad.
Absolutely. He was talking about.
You go here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you go directly to there or did you ask somebody else there?
No.
You followed and found it. Based on previous experience, he was able to do it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the way you are thinking,
Reasoning fact.
rationality. You see, if he just went, okay,
Trust me though, because
no, without wanting to overemphasize the point Brother George made, yeah, it's like Shane Arnold here says, right, I want the toilet, and we all go that way, and he says, I'm going that way. Shane, the toilet, don't worry, I have faith, I will find it. What would we say?
Yeah.
No. If we told that way, he goes that way. And when we tell him, Shane, you are going the wrong, don't worry, I've got faith, I'll get there. What would we think? Shane, he must be stressed.
Yes.
It's true. So you
He
see,
had his own internal guidance, regardless of the fact he could have had faith in me, but they were both operating on the same evidence.
It's getting
None
complex.
of it. Yeah, you know what it is. You know, something that might kind of just draw the threads just together.
Yeah.
Because, no, first of all, I just want to thank God, and maybe we should thank God that we've been able to have this experience here.
absolutely.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Absolutely.
We've been patient. We haven't got to the ground you wanted to go to so long.
By all means, I finished what the segment. My segment is finished.
Based on what we were just discussing,
Yeah.
we were talking a lot about faith. Now, when I speak to other Christians, not mainly Catholics or Orthodox, I don't really have dialogue with them because there's mainly Protestant.
So you make up, don't for the ties.
They use the Bible as their criteria. Now, when we look at the Bible and we see the New Testament, 52% of it is from Paul. I don't know if you guys know. 52%. Now, Paul, I'm going to read a statement that he says, based on what we were discussing. He says, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I was still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. This is where I wanted to sort of emphasize on. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the gospel I preached, 52% of it I preached, is not of human origin.
Let's back up.
It's not of human origin. If it's not of human origin, he's not talking about aliens. He's obviously talking about God.
Back up. Okay.
Yeah.
So, the gospel is not the letters. The letters are the epistles. So, we're the gospels of our Lord Jesus Christ. And those are Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. And Paul went around the Mediterranean preaching the gospel. This is what Jesus said. Most people can read.
Number one. And number two, if I myself, am I trying to win the approval of human beings or of God, or am I trying to please people? If I was trying to please people, I wouldn't be a servant of God, of Christ. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the gospel I preach of human origin did not receive it if any man, nor was I taught it. Rather, I received it by revelation. So basically what he's saying is, Jesus came to him through the Spirit and gave him this gospel. Now, this can't be the same as the Old Testament, as you're mentioning. It has to be what he is teaching.
It's not the Old Testament. Okay. So, the epistles, not what in terms of, so Paul would go around to towns. This is what Jesus Christ said comes to church. He wrote the epistles as instructions to the church. They should not be confused. This is, so for example, 1 Timothy is all about what priests do and things like that. And they are not in and of themselves the words of Jesus Christ. They are Paul's instructions on church and church administration.
They were written to separate churches,
Where
so he
is the
didn't send
gospel?
Corinthians.
Where is the gospel?
So I'll be quiet.
Okay.
Where is the gospel?
Yeah, I'm listening now.
Paul, and he's originally called Saul. He says, Saul, why do you persecute me? And then he says, you will no longer. I know all preachers. We don't know other means of this was transferred, it could have all been shoved in his head at that one moment.
But where is the message? Where is the information? You're saying the gospel, it's not these words.
Well,
where is it?
So Paul doesn't need to. We don't need to have Paul repeating the gospel in his letter. He
But
doesn't need
then,
to.
for the future, for Christians, what do they take hold? What do they have to show or to believe in terms of what Jesus is telling Paul? What do we have? You're saying he preached the gospel. Where is the physical gospel? That's what I'm saying.
Physical gospel?
Yes.
The full gospel of Matthew, Mark.
You're saying no. I've read a verse
Yes.
of what Paul is saying. He's saying this gospel is not from humans; it's from God.
Yes.
Where is this gospel? That's I'm lay when it comes to Christians.
But no. This gospel, if he's talking about gospel, is Greek. It comes from written word of God. Okay? Those are, if he's saying gospel, he is talking about the.
But then,
I'll read that in the text speak for it. You're putting your own spin on it, and we're trying to deal with the text.
the text itself.
Okay. But any text can be spun.
That's now, if I come and say and twist it into an Islamic thing, you'd be like, hold on.
No. You can do that. You can do that. This is why we have the fathers.
Yeah, so I'm trying to say to you, and you asked me.
But how do you know they were, what do you call it, receiving from the disciples? How can we link them back to the disciples plus Paul?
Okay. Jesus chose the apostles, and every single apostle, they would not pick that successor if they did not trust them to give a faithful interpretation. And they gave a faithful interpretation, then they
Yeah, but how can we prove from
you can't breathe.
if he
Colin,
quoted Thessalonians
can you
to
pass that
prove
on to
all
him,
things,
please? Thank
and you
you.
say you can't prove it, sir? Do you understand the dilemma we have? Is where basically, I don't know how to put this in a nice way, but you're saying one thing, he just quoted the Bible to you and it's the exact opposite. Do you understand where we're coming from? I don't mean to come across blunt, but what our problem is as Muslims is, how can you trace what you had back to the Jesus or even the disciples? We'll compromise with the disciples. That's the issue with us. When we ask you, you say, oh, it's faith. But you are, when I asked you about how to look at this verse, you appeal to the disciples. If you're going to take me to faith, you might as well have done it directly. What I'm trying to sum up anyways, I think I've gone on a little tangent with this. Nothing is falsifiable. Anyone, like Shabir demonstrated, anyone can make any claim without any evidence, without nothing. Now, I already quoted to you, I think I did earlier, but God is not the author of confusions. I think it's in Timothy or Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 14:33.
Exactly. So God knows that He's created us with faculties, unlike, let's say, animals, other creatures. We have to put it to use somehow. Otherwise, why would God have given it to us? If everything was faith-based, why would God have given it to us?
Okay.
This is why you establish a church.
Okay.
But I'll let the young fellas do it because I'm going to.
So, why did God give us rationality?
I'll see you again before you go anyway.
Yeah.
And I want you to use that Bible verse, the ones that we showed you, prove all things. God is not the author of confusion. Come, let us reason, saith the Lord.
God is not the author of confusion, we are author of our own confusion. Let's be clear.
Yes.
Okay. Rationality is not necessarily has to be used to prove God or talk about God. That Jesus Christ himself said, have ye no faith? If ye have no faith in me, you are not a part of me. It is not rational to say that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. Jesus Christ said, people who have to put their hands in my side to see that I am risen are lesser than those who believe. Actual faith.
Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
So
sorry.
Thomas.
Where does he say
So
that they are weaker in belief?
He said, okay. He says, you see now, you believe because you have seen. Truly I tell you, blessed are those who have
believed but not seen.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Having it is an important criteria, and God has made it clear through Jesus Christ that a big part of faith in Him is about trusting without knowing the full evidence. If that's the scripture you want, there it is.
But you see, sorry, before you carry on, you see what you have said again is based entirely on the premise that we have established beyond reasonable doubt that the message that you have just read from is uncorrupted. But you can't do that without reliance on the apostles or the apostles' followers. Are we agreed? So there is no independent criteria within the book to verify its authenticity.
Well, if it was an independent criteria within the book, you would say if the book said...
Which it is.
Yeah. All scripture, is Paul saying this? All scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, as Christians they want to teach, rebuking, correcting,